Well, hello everyone. Welcome back. If it's your first time joining in, thanks for watching here. And it's Sick Vic, the 6.5 shooter. What you have in front of you is once fired 6.5 brass. I purchased this obviously store. It's been quite some time ago, and it's just been sitting around. And I had an idea for a video. Basically, what I want to do is I want to separate this and fully work half of it, and then the other half I want to fire as is, and then I want to compare the two numbers for accuracy and extreme spread and standard deviation, velocity changes or whatnot, and see what difference, if any difference, in between a fully worked set of brass versus a once fired, resized, bare bones, and then do a comparison. On the half to be fully worked, I'm going to weigh the cases, find the optimum case to be annealed. I'm going to Aztec that. Then I'll anneal those cases. I'm going to turn necks. I'm going to measure thicknesses. I'm going to set it to the optimum thickness that I feel that this particular case will seal at. We're just going to work through it completely from top to bottom. And the other ones, we're just going to throw powder in them, resize them, and go. And then we'll see what happens. I hope you all stick around to see if we can turn this American Eagle store purchase brass into some high-speed, low-drag, match-quality ammunition. Let's get started with the first step. The first thing I want to do is pop out the primers before I weigh the cases. For that, I'm going to use a bushing bump neck sizing die that does not resize the body of the brass. Okay, this is fired brass, it fits in there. And with the shell plate that I'm using, it does not alter head space. So these are once fired brass. They're set to my chamber. We're just going to bump them back later on. But for now, we're only pushing out the primers so we can weigh the cases and consolidate from there. Now the primers are popped out without any other case alterations taking place. We've moved over to weighing the cases. Here's the lightest, here's the heaviest, here's the centralized group. And what we'll do is we'll go ahead and cherry pick 10 of the best ones or the closest weights, set them on one side and the worst weights on the other side. Next thing that I did is I went and checked the case neck thickness, because even though these are the worst, I still want to set some kind of decent neck tension. So we need to find out what numbers we have so we can make a good call so that that neck tension is adequate. Okay, basically the difference that I have is my lowest or my thinnest is 128, my thickest is 138 10,000ths. The average is right about 134 10,000. So that's what I'm going to use as a number for the thickness. After measuring everything and getting it all figured out, I've decided to go with the 2,645 10,000ths neck easy expander. The case is lubed with wax and the neck is lubed with the case lube. And then we're just going to go ahead and press this, and we're aiming for about a 1 in 5,525 10,000 head space. So we're going to drop in our easy expander. Boom. Size this. There it is, expanding the neck, bringing it down, drawing it out, and that's it. All right, I was down to my trim 2 length, and I was going to leave them and not trim them. My chamber can handle longer than minimum, but this is 192.45, 192.50, and I can't say with confidence that that my chamber can handle that. So we're going to trim these down shorter. So another step I don't want to be doing to these, but that tool, that trimmer, cuts flat face, doesn't chamfer, so I'm going to use a VLD chamfer tool and knock these out, or else I'll spend the rest of my life trying to get those bullets seated. So yeah, we'll just put a nice bevel to them. Here we are, ready to get our prime on. I got my 21st Century hand primer. I've got it set up for a large rifle. These are S&B primers, large rifle primers. I've got this set at 19. However, I always cut my pockets, but since we're doing the versed version, um, they're not. So on setting 19, I might be absolutely crushing anvils right here. I don't know. But yeah, basically we just drop one of these things in and it's fully adjustable, but it's on setting 19. And we go in, and then I do a, double access on that and prime and go. So, all right, I'm going to drop some powder. What we're going to do is 40.50 is what we're aiming for. So yeah, let's get started with that. So I don't know if you can see there's 3.8. We'll go up, there's 5.2. So I dropped over one because I got crazy on my first one. So one kernel too much. There's one kernel. And 40.5. Okay, so drop that in there. Go ahead and put our tray back on. Maybe we do one more. Kind of hard working with the camera here. I'm definitely not a camera guru. So 4.28, and there's 4.50. 40.50. So we're ready to seat the bullets. So I'm going to do this close up. Up here you see the gauge set on 0, and I put this little black tick deal there by 35. Ideally, I find that's where I like to be. So we're going to press this and just let you see where it ends up. This is the first one. Here we go. 10, 20, 25, 30, 32. I kicked off at about 32. Got you lined up for a little bit wider view here. So we're going to go down, start pressing, and about 30, and then it faded on through. So it's starting to press like at 31, but then there's a graduation in pressure, okay? So I want you to remember that, and we're going to compare that to when I fully work the cases. So you've seen that pop, and then there's a graduation, okay? We are pressing these at 40 and a half thousandths, which is jump. So 40 and a half thou is what my rifle likes. So we're on that. And I'm going to measure how much neck tension we have, because I know a lot of people reference it that way. So let me get those numbers pulled up and we'll come right back. Here we are, the finished product of the versed or worst, or the most quickly or the least work done cases. I will say I am absolutely impressed. They all pressed within 1/2 thousandth of each other. Their pressures were quite a bit different according to the press. However, surprisingly enough, the neck tension, if you say there's a thousandths, neck tension on it, a lot of people base it that way. These only have 1/2 thou neck tension, yet they're pressing at about 55 pounds. So normally my Lapua brass, they press it about 1.5 thou neck tension, but at 35 pounds. So I think when we anneal these, thin these necks out on this next one, it's going to be crazy on the differences that we get, and it'll be neat to compare them. So that's what we got. These here are looking good for putting no work into them, with the exception that I did have to trim them due to safety reasons, and then I chamfered it. Other than that, we just chucked these things together, and should be good. We're out at the 100-yard range this morning to do the shooting testing portion of the comparison of fully prepped and absolutely no prep. We're going to shoot at 100 yards. I'm going to take one shot from the non-prepped brass as a fouler, and then I will compare the 9 rounds between fully and non-prepped, and we're just comparing group size. There's been no development on this ammo whatsoever, so hopefully between 2650 and 2750 velocity, and let's start this off. And here's a quick rundown of those no prep case results. Of those 9 rounds, the extreme spread was 14. SD came out at 4.1, average velo 26.99, and average group size come out to be 0.5366 inches. Wow, for having no development, I'm pretty impressed with that. There was one round that went a little slower than the rest out of those 9. With that one round, had it sped up some, we'd have been in the 2 SDs. That's super impressive. I know we're only shooting a half MOA group, especially for only 3 rounds. That's not very good, but that's not what we're here for. It isn't the group size. It's just a matter of is fully prepped case is going to do better than the others. So for a completely non-prepped, thrown together, no effort situation, those numbers are super impressive. You guys think we're going to beat that with the fully prepped cases? Have to stick around, find out. Now let's move on to the second half, the second 10 pieces of brass that we're going to work. These here are going to be the fully prepped section. Here you see I have it chucked up in a neck reamer. So what I'm going to do is tighten this down. These are new cases, once fired, only tumbled, and nothing else has been done. So the first step I like to do is I like to ream the inside of the neck to get out any inconsistencies. Now, this may not fit for you or work for you due to the tolerances of the throat within your chamber, but any barrel that I've had, it has worked. So the first thing I do is go in and I just ream out just a small, it takes out a small portion in this case, but you can see as I go in and out, it removes some material right at the mouth, right at the opening. You can just see a few shreds down there. So that's the first step that I do. So I'll go through these 10. And again, no sizing has been done. Nothing else has been done other than we weight sorted them to be in the closest spec with each other throughout this particular 10 rounds. So primer pocket uniforming is kind of a no-brainer. I use the K&M large rifle tool. It's set to a depth of 131 thousandths. And my neck turning tool eventually seats in here as well. So we clean these up, uniform them, and like I said, it's no brainer. Run it down, and take out the materials necessary. Do it a few times, and got a nice clean pocket. Since we're here in the area of the primer pocket, we might as well uniform the flash hole. And essentially the thought on that is just to make sure that that hole, the flash hole itself, is uniform in diameter. And also I like how it cuts kind of a beveled surface down inside here so that that powder and once you strike that anvil, that flash or that explosion ignites the powder evenly. So I have a Lyman uniforming tool here. Basically, it has this conical shaped seating area that you can adjust so that when you go down and you touch that case neck, you're not overdoing it, trying to bore a hole all the way through. But basically, you'll just put it in there. You'll turn that. You'll remove a small amount of material, tap it out, and we'll go ahead and do that to the rest of them. So we're starting to get into some more complicated steps, and it's complicated because there's multiple processes happening at once. In order for us to turn these necks, we have to ensure that the inner diameter of the case mouth is equal throughout. And once you move over and see the turning lathe and how this particular lathe is designed, it's crucial that you have that consistency so that when you're taking off material on the outside, it's a consistent amount that you want, leading to the number or the neck thickness or the case mouth material thickness that you want. So what we're going to do is we're going to size these with a body sizing die. We're going to knock back our head space to 155/25, just like the other 10 rounds that we did. And then we're going to expand it out with this particular mandrel here, which is matching set with the turning lathe. This is about 263.5, I think. And then by the time you get set back or the spring back from the brass, it goes down to fit that mandrel. So I'm going to knock these out, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask. All right, here we are over in the turning lathe. Again, I'm not trying to teach you how to do this. I'm just showing you this process. I'm not quite sure how it's going to turn out for me here doing it from behind the camera, but we're going to get this up here and give it a go. Try to be close enough where you can see it happen. We're going to go from 138 10,000ths down to 133 10,000ths. And as you can see, we have complete consistency across that case neck. All right, we're getting prepared for the annealing phase. This is where the video just goes into mad gibberish talk. The two protruding cases you see in the loading block are the average weight of those 10 cases there. The difference from the lightest case to the heaviest case is 0.030 grams. That's the weight of the feather on the scale. I hope you can see that. It's nothing. So what we're ideally looking to do is sample our best case. So the two in the middle are our average case weight, and then you have the case on the left that is the lightest, and you have the case on the far right, which is the heaviest. The necks are all turned to the same thickness, so when you do the Aztec mode using the amp annealer, you'll get the most precise annealing code possible to ensure proper brass annealing using this method. So at this point, we've analyzed our just a comparison piece of brass, and then the one actual we're going to use. I left them up here. You can see they're cooked. And at this point, we're just going to start dropping them in. And they're on code 0145. Start. That one's done. Put it off to cool. And we're just going to run through these. We find ourselves back here at the press. We're ready to basically size this thing. I know that we've done it once before, but we're going to reduce down this neck so that I can use a mandrel to set neck tension now. The head space is going to be pretty much there. All we've done essentially is just annealed it, but we're going to run it through. You've noticed I have not done trim length yet. We're going to do that now because I never like to do it early, because if at some point you change your head space and you've cut it to the minimum and you actually end up compressing it, well, you're going to be way behind. So we go ahead and pop these in. Like I said, there's not much happening in this process because we've already pretty much set head space. All we're going to do is reduce down neck, reduce the neck back down so I can expand it out with a mandrel. After pressing through these, every one of these cases, all 9 of them, run right at 155.20 exactly. So if you're having problems with your head space coming up, with inadequate numbers or non-matching, you shouldn't. You should be able to just press this stuff out real fast and go. Every one of them are exactly the same, or at least within tolerance of what my calipers will show. After I did that full length sizing, it also sizes the neck back down. I don't have an expanding mandrel in it. Our number is 2860, okay, 0.2860. Before we annealed them, we did the same thing, and the size was 0.2855. So we can see that after annealing across the board here, we're getting more elasticity to that neck. It's relaxing more. It's providing a nice consistent number, 2860 all the way across here. So you can see the effects of that annealing and the even effects of it and the relaxing of that brass. So it's just becoming more pliable again, which makes sense. You harden it when you fire. And again, it relaxes out. It's the same die, it's the same everything, but we get a different outer diameter. It relaxes back out. So we've already seen this game get played here once in the last cases, but we'll do it again for these just to keep in the sequence. We're going to knock down the trim length. They're sitting at about 192 right now, and we're going to back off about 7.5 thou and put these at 191.25. So and a quick chamfer. From chamfering, we move into the cleaning. So I've brushed out the case next with a brush to clean out any debris. We'll move into lubing them, and I'll show you how I do it. I start on the outside, and I come into the slight angle, and then I just roll them and go ahead and put another. I'll let that set for about 5 minutes, and we're with the 261 5 mandrel installed in the press. We'll put that case in, drop it down, and I'll give it a dwell time of 3 seconds. There it is, all the way down, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, done. Pull that back out, move on to the next one. I love this. We could do it all day. Let's do another one. I have no idea what that's going to do. My powder drop jammed up. So 40.5, let's see what we got. 2.6, there it is. How fast can we do it? Oh, lean, baby. 40.5 right there. Nice job. So speed is nothing without accuracy. So what we're going to do real quick is we're going to zero this pan out. 0. We're going to drop a kernel to see if it registers. It does indeed register at 0.02. 1 kernel, wait. We get rid of that kernel. We'll put the pan, whoops, I'm sorry, we're not going to put the pan back on there yet. I've poured 5 pans at 40.5, which should equal 202.5. Let's see what we've got. .5 it settled on. That's perfect accuracy over a 5-pan throw right there. Doing bullet seating on these fully prepped cases. It should be very smooth and consistent when it breaks. Go ahead and graduate pressure. We get a nice break right around 25 or 30. We just follow that on through to the 100-pound mark. Very nice. Okay, we finished up with the fully prepped side. You've seen all the steps there. I'm sorry they're so fast and furious, but this video is getting long as it is. So without further ado, let's jump into the results of the fully prepped brass and then do a finalization and a comparison between both. See what we end up with. And here are the numbers for the fully prepped. Extreme spread 15, SD of 5.5, group average of 0.8666 inches. And coincidentally, the original SD when I purchased the ammo was at 16.5, so we've improved. I'd like to start by thanking anyone who's made it through this entire video. That is some serious dedication. I greatly appreciate it. So our final results between prepped and non-prepped cases. The non-prepped cases had a better showing as far as results. They had a better extreme spread, they had a better standard deviation, and they produced a tighter group. The group size, they were better by over 1/4 MOA. And in one case's situation, they would have had a double better SD, let's say. So they'd have been down in the 2s, which is amazing. So does this mean that I wasted my time or anybody out there is wasting their time reloading? Absolutely not. This is just a fun thing to do to compare. I was actually completely surprised by the results. I didn't think it'd even be close, and it turned out they were, it turned out completely different. So it's April 1st, and we're still in the snow. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Sick Vic, 6.5 shooter.